Find all your favorite movies and shows faster with Xfinity. Just speak into the X1 voice remote to search across live TV, on-demand, even Netflix and Prime Video. Now that's simple, easy, awesome. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply.
Today was the first day of spring, but sure as heck doesn't look like it outside. But sure sign of spring is state finals basketball coming up on Saturday. Brett Rump and myself will be down at Bankers Life Fieldhouse to bring you all the action of Blackhawk Christian and Barr-Reeve in the 1A state championship game. Tip-off at 10:30 here on ESPN Radio 1380, 100.9 FM. Thank you to Dan Vance before the break of Outside the Huddle, breaking the 1A championship game matchup down for us. And now we're going to talk to the coaches. Mark Davidson here at the bottom of the hour of Blackhawk Christian, but Coach Josh Thompson of the Barr-Reeve Vikings joins us first from the bus, I think. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing well. Hey, thanks for having us on. Yeah, we're on our bus headed back south here on Highway 37 north of Bloomington. We went up and practiced at Hinkle Fieldhouse today. With not being able to practice at Bankers Life this week, we wanted to give the kids, kind of a little bit of an opportunity to do something they wouldn't forget, and also practice at a facility that has a similar backdrop, from the corners and from the wings.
Yeah, Coach, from what I understand, none of the 8 teams able to get into Bankers Life Fieldhouse this week, correct?
No, basketball is pretty big in Indiana, but WWE and Kelly Clarkson, I guess, are a little bigger than we are. So, no, they weren't able to get this facilities locked down for us to come in and practice, so teams have had to kind of find an alternative, and we were just very fortunate that Butler worked with us to be able to get in there today.
Well, Coach, congratulations getting this far. It's the first appearance for Barr-Reeve since 2015, and that was the one and only state championship for Barr-Reeve. Of course, 4 runner-up finishes as well over the years. But in your first year as head coach for the Barr-Reeve Vikings, take us through that process. Now has to be a special year for you.
Well, I took over the program back in July after Coach Hughes retired, and one of the things I was very fortunate enough to have is obviously very good players, but 4 guys that work with me as assistants that were on Coach Hughes' staff. And so the consistency in the program has stayed. We've tried to do a lot of the same things offensively. We've maybe pushed the ball a little bit more in transition this year and just tried to keep a lot of the things that these guys were very familiar with running on both ends of the floor in, so that they could just focus on playing basketball and not have to learn a bunch of new stuff.
Coach, did you feel with the veteran group you had coming back, in particular, all 5 starters back from a year ago, that continuity was key?
Oh, absolutely. I felt continuity was extremely important, which is why we kept a lot of the same sets offensively in there, a lot of the same terminology on the defensive side. I'm not the sharpest tack in the drawer, but one of the things I do know is it's a lot easier for one guy to pick up on some things than it is for 26, 27 kids. So we just try to keep terminology and a lot of things the same on both sides of the basketball. And then, like I said, my assistants did a tremendous job helping in that process.
Coach, take us back through last week. You guys knocked off a Bloomfield team that was really close to your heart last week, 65-39 at the Hatchet House. It was a packed house for the 1A game. Looked like a great atmosphere down there, but it had to mean a little bit more for you, taking on a Bloomfield team that you're really familiar with.
Yeah, Coach McBride at Bloomfield was my high school coach. That's where I went to high school at. I was very blessed to play with some good players and a lot of respect for Coach McBride. And then when I was done playing at Hanover, he gave me the opportunity to come back and be an assistant coach for him. So I'm forever grateful for that. But very happy for him and very happy for those kids there at Bloomfield in the season that they had. But our kids played very well. We played them the last game of the regular season on their senior night. They started some seniors that didn't play a whole lot for them. We were able to get off to a good start in that game. And then we kind of fizzled a little bit. Didn't play real well, didn't shoot it very well. Our effective field goal percentage for the game was 37%. You're not going to win very many games with an effective field goal percentage like that. But we guarded them really well that night, won by 8. But then last week, our kids did a tremendous job getting off to a very good start. Only gave up 7 points in the first quarter, didn't give up a basket in the second quarter, and just played real well on that end of the floor all day. So it was a really good win, and like you said, it was a tremendous crowd there at the Hatchet House in Washington. Over 7,000 people there for our game. So kids played well, and obviously very fulfilling to do that in front of that type of crowd.
Coach Josh Thompson, Barr-Reeve Vikings, joining us here on the OPS High School Coaches Show. Coach, for people unfamiliar with your team, break it down for us. You got some size, 6'6", 6'8", in the starting lineup. You got some shooters there in the backcourt. Gabe Gladish, a really good player for you. But for people here around Northeast Indiana heading down to Bankers Life Fieldhouse, give us a scouting report on the Barr-Reeve Vikings.
Well, we had 5 starters returning from last season's team that lost in the semi-state, so we had a great start there with that core. We've got 6 seniors on the roster. Our starting point guard, Bryson Graber, 6'3" point guard, kind of a long, lanky kid. He's number 4 in the state in assists, averaging 7.4 assists a game. He's our floor general, and when he plays really well, we play very well. You talked about Gabe Gladish, our leading scorer, our 2 guard. Just found out over the weekend that he got picked to play in the North-South All-Star game. So, he's a very good player for us, but we have a lot of guys that can step up and lead us in scoring at different times. He only had 6 points in the semi-state, but yet we played very well as a team. So the biggest thing I can say about him is, even though he's our leading scorer, he just cares about winning. Our 3rd guard that we start is Isaac Wagler. He does all the intangibles for us. He's only averaging about 9 points a game, but he led us in scoring in the semi-state. He had 20. I've told a lot of people over the last couple of weeks that if there was an Indiana All-Star team made up of guys that just do all the little things, he would definitely be on it and maybe be Mr. Basketball. Our 4-man, kind of a stretch 4 for us, Austin Ainsko at 6'6", very good three-point shooter for us. He's really improved defensively, and it's going to be very important for him to play well defensively on Saturday for us to have an opportunity to win the basketball game. Our center post player, Keegan O'Neal, 6'8". Keegan's getting some looks from some small D1 schools, a lot of NAIs, Division IIs. He draws everybody's attention, averaging about 11 points a game, 7 rebounds a game. And he's really kind of been hampered statistically because first half of the year got into a lot of foul trouble and spent a lot of time on the bench, especially in the first half of games. But it's really been playing well for us here lately. And we typically play 2 guys. Our 6th man is our freshman Hagen Depp, and Hagen can guard pretty much 1 through 4. The guy I would compare him to is he's a 1A version of Tony Kukoc from the Chicago Bulls. Left-handed guy, kind of unorthodox with what he does, defends pretty well. And then the 7th guy we use in our rotation quite a bit is Quentin Yoder, who's 6'5", and he comes in if Keegan's in foul trouble. And there's been games this year where he's led us in scoring. There's been games this year where he's got 10, 11 rebounds. So we feel like we have a pretty solid 7. And then after that, we can go to guys like Jensen Whitmer, who's a senior, come in to make some shots if we need to stretch the floor a little bit. Then our other senior, who sees a little bit of action at times, Keyshawn Whitmer, who's kind of our backup point guard.
Coach, you guys are familiar with Blackhawk Christian in that you played him in late December, a 76-68 overtime win for Blackhawk Christian. What can you take out of that game, and what have you seen on film that you guys need to be prepared for Saturday morning?
Well, I think both teams are better from that game. Coach Davidson and I talked before the game, and I kind of joked with him. I said, a lot of people around the state probably think this is a preview of the state championship game, but I said, what most people don't think about is how much has to happen for that to be the game at the end of March. And he and I both kind of chuckled about that, and we both agreed that if that happened, then we'd both be pretty happy guys, no matter what the outcome is. I think the fact that we have already played this year probably develops a little bit of a level of comfort for both teams because we both know what the other teams can do and some of the strengths. But like I said, I think they're way better. I know the first kid is drawing a lot of attention, and very well deserved. The thing that impresses me so much about Caleb is he never gets too high, never gets too low. Now, I know when he throws some of those two-handed jams down, he gets a little pumped up, but I think I would too if I was able to do that still. He's a very nice player. But they're obviously more than just him. I think Frankie Davidson is very underrated. I've been very impressed with him on film on his ability to stretch the floor, be able to get to the rim. And I think he's defending. Individually, I think he's defending a lot better. Obviously, Zane Burke is a very good shooter who you can't leave. He's had games, this year where he's made 6-7 threes. We got bit by him the first time that we played, and we just can't allow him to go off and get 6 or 7 against us on Saturday morning. But then their supporting cast outside of Davidson, Burke, and First, I think, are some of the best supporting casts in 1A basketball. Pulver kid really impresses me with his ability to get out, push the basketball, get to the rim, run their offense. Hicks is obviously a very good athlete. I think Pulver and Hicks probably get to the boards offensive glass about as good as any two guys under 6 foot in state. And then, of course, Marcus Davidson. Excuse me. When Marcus starts for him or he comes in off the bench, he takes him to another level with his ability to get to the rim. And he's so strong and can create space. And then, of course, Clark hit a couple threes against us the first time we played. So they're more than just 1 or 2 or 3 guys. And we're going to have to do a great job defensively on Saturday.
Coach, great breakdown on both teams. I don't even have to say anything for the next half hour, so you did my job. But, Coach, I appreciate the time. Thanks a lot for finding some time to talk to us, and good luck on Saturday. Hoping for a good one.
Hey, no problem. We're just driving in the rain, and anytime I can talk basketball, I enjoy doing so. And, again, I really feel like these are the 2 best teams in the state in 1A basketball, so it's going to be a joy to be on the sidelines and be a part of it.
Definitely. Thanks.
The Home Depot has very good news for your lawn. It's called Scott's Thicker Lawn. Right now from only $19.98 a bag. Thicker Lawn is a 3-in-1 mixture of seed, fertilizer, and soil improver. Perfectly formulated for thicker lawns and happier lawn owners. So spread the word for up to a 50% thicker lawn after just 1 application. Today is the day for doing with Scott's Thicker Lawn from only $19.98 a bag. Now at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Selection varies by store.
Podcasts by Federated Media. Podcasts by Federated Media.